Hi, I'm Rose Jordan with Visit Mineral Wells, and we're here at Rickhouse Brewing with one of the owners, Brian Miller. The craft beer craze has really grown strong over the last few years, and it has finally made its way here to Mineral Wells. And that's not the only reason to love Rickhouse Brewing. You just wait until you hear about all the great things that they're doing here. So, Brian, tell us how this got started.
We started Rickhouse Brewing 7-8 years ago. It started just like any other brewing event or brewing company on a stove in a kitchen with a semi-angry wife in the other room as we make messes. And we just kind of progressed from there. We started making beers consistently, started getting the same taste out of them, started getting actually what we were trying to get. All the neighbors would try it, all our friends would try it. We didn't kill anybody. And so it was one of those things where everybody just kept pushing us, and so we figured it was time to make the jump and go big with it.
All right, awesome. So Brian, tell us about the beers that you're making here, especially the ones made with crazy water.
So I've got about 24, 25 beers that I roll through. Our goal, once we get caught up, is to have probably 14 to 16 on tap at any given time. Those range everywhere from a blonde ale to an IPA to a smoked porter to a jalapeno to a honey lavender to a chai to an Irish red. It's a little bit of everything. And I think it's huge. We're just blessed to have the ability to work with Carol and Scott from Crazy Water. And so they had us supply the beer for the Crazy Water Festival this past year. And so we brewed everything with Crazy Water as far as the blonde and the oatmeal stout that was served out there. I have one beer in particular that we're gonna keep as a Crazy Water beer. It's called Flying Pig Pale Ale. It's an American pale ale, it's all Crazy Water, and so that's kind of an ode to Mineral Wells.
Yeah.
For anybody that doesn't know the story, they need to research it. And so it's just, that's kind of we're trying to keep everything local. And so the Flying Pig Pale Ale was the one that we definitely wanted to keep Crazy Water. But everything we're trying to label it or name it local. Like we have a Donkey Trail double IPA. Our regular IPA is called North Oak IPA. The Honey Lavender is called Virginia's Sweet 714, which is a story out of the Baker Hotel. Our sangria that we do is called Baker's Cactus. And so we're really, really trying to focus and keep it geographical here to this area. Yeah. I mean, we love it here. We live here. This is our home. And so that's what we really want to center around.
Yeah, I love it. So tell us, what is this all about? Because I see these in here all the time. This is your beer? Okay. Right. And what is this?
So this is just kind of, we throw this out. I put this together a couple years ago, just kind of as a quick explanation. So one of them represents craft beer, one of them represents commercial beer. And so the craft beer just shows the different levels of roast and the different levels of grain that go into this, the more hops. So it's higher quality ingredients, it's better ingredients that go in. So the commercial beer, they use fillers, it's rice, it's corn, it's more just base malts, what they call it. Very few hops go into it. And so that's kind of, we really focus on the difference between a craft brewery and a microbrewery. So a microbrewery is a small brewery, but they're really just focused on brewing beer and just getting it kicked out. Just go, 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 go. A craft brewery is one, they use higher quality ingredients. They use more of those higher quality ingredients. They really focus on more of the art side than the quantity side. And so that's one thing that's been a priority of ours since day one. We'll spend a little bit more on grain, or we'll spend a little more on this just to do it right, just get the taste out of it rather than like, meh, that's okay, that's a decent beer. We could serve that. That's a big deal. And so we just try and run it like that around here.
So show us a little bit about the beer making process.
Sure.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, so what is all of this? I'm not a beer drinker, so I really have no clue other than I know there's some beer making happening here.
I don't know what it all is.
Okay, well, good. All right, well, then we're done.
No, so whenever we start a batch, it starts on this end. And so you have our mash tun, we have a hot liquor tank. It goes through there. There's a series of events it has to go through, and then we go into this tank, which is the big one. It's a boil kettle. It stays in there for an hour. That's when we add in all the additions to it. And then that gets pumped over into one of these, which is a fermenter, it's a conical fermenter. This is a 7-barrel pub system. And so once it gets into, these are 7-barrel fermenters, and so this is roughly 217 to 240 gallons of beer in each one of these. And he can't see it, but this all right there, that's just CO2 pumping off. So as it goes through the fermentation process, there are 4 main ingredients in beer. There's water, hops, grain, and yeast. And so as we put it in there, it's basically a sugar water as it goes into a fermenter, and then we dump the yeast in. The yeast eats the sugars, and a byproduct of that is CO2, and it makes alcohol. And so as it gets through in here and does its whole process of what yeast does, that just blows off CO2. And that's when you know it's working.
Okay.
So then we let it sit in here for 2 to 3 weeks, and after it's done working in here, we'll pump this into our walk-in cooler. Then we've got 6 7-barrel serving tanks in there, and we carbonate it in there. And so it kind of keeps everything fresh. So our serving tanks in there are the 7 barrels. So we actually pump 200 plus gallons of beer in there in any one tank, and we serve straight off that tank.
Okay, so tell us more about what's going on here, and kind of, I know you mentioned there's a difference between a tap room and a bar, and so tell us more about that.
So one of our main focuses is coming to Mineral Wells and being a part of the community. We're making this a family-friendly joint. And so we're adamant in the fact that it's not a bar. So a bar is where do you go to forget your day, forget your friends, get away from your family, do stuff like that. And so this is different. This is a tap room.
Okay.
And so whenever you come in, you'll get a beer, you'll sit at a table or you'll sit at the bar, and the entire goal is for you to talk to the person next to you or across the bar that you've never talked to. Could be a neighbor, could be someone. We've had a guy in here a couple of times visit. He's in the Air Force going between Wichita Falls and San Antonio. And so he'll come in and sit, and he talks to everybody at the bar that never met him, that may never see him again. It's just one of those things. So it builds community. It gets people talking. It gets people out of their phone. Gets you away from electronics and just carry on a conversation, which seems to be a foreign idea nowadays. Even last night when we were here, we had a band playing, of course, and my son was here. He was playing with other kids that had come. Our son, he's 8. He's going to be running the merch booth. He already knows more of the POS system than I do. Back to kids and electronics. And so we're integrating our entire family into it. And so with that, we expect other people to bring their families in. We have card games. We have snacks for everybody. We just kind of we just give everybody something to do.
Yeah. Well, and I know you've got some seating. We are, for those of you that don't know, Rickhouse Brewing is in the corner on the first floor of the Crazy Water Hotel. And so they have the main tap room here with seating, but just behind us is the lobby, or behind this section is the lobby to the hotel, and they've got more seating out there. And so one of the things that I've loved about the seating out there is that sometimes you'll see people come in and just bring their board games or bring their puzzle or just sit and chat at the tables out here. And from out there, they can place their order to you in here, which is handy. And that's not the only place they can do that from, right? They can place their orders from where else?
Right. So we have 800 square feet of seating in the lobby area, and we're going to have QR codes on each of those tables out there, which gives an individual the opportunity. They can load our POS system onto their phone. They put their credit card information in. They put all their information in. We don't touch any of it. They hold the credit card. We never get it. And so with that, it gives them the ability to start a tab. And just to add things to the tab and just place orders. It'll print at the bar behind for us to pour and take out there. But they can close the tab from there. They can come in here and hang out with other people and add things to their tab from there. And so it's just very user-friendly in that point. We're opening it up to where we're going to be working with area restaurants because, again, one of our goals here is to kind of incorporate as many businesses into this as we can and just work with as many as we can. And so we're going to work with local restaurants here downtown to where through that same POS system, we have the ability to load a portion or all of their food menu in. And so I'm too old, I don't have the patience to deal with a kitchen. And so we have the ability to, as a customer comes in, they can order 2 or 3 beers from us, but they're also hungry for a chicken sandwich or a pizza or barbecue or whatever. And so those items will be tagged and they'll print directly in those kitchens at the respective restaurants.
Yeah.
And so they'll package it up as a to-go order and deliver it to us.
That's
and so
really
then
cool.
we have the ability for food, wine,
Yeah.
beer, just to kind of keep people occupied, give them
Yeah.
something to do. We also have the ability for our friend runs a Rock and Hair salon next to us. And so we came up with the idea to where we're going to have the QR codes at each of their styling stations. So I'm losing all mine, so I'm not familiar with the styling station anymore. But as women or men are sitting there getting whatever it is they have done, it's like you can scan that and it'll pop up our entire menu. And so it'll print right over here, and then we'll pour it and deliver it over there, whether it be beer or wine, while they're having that done. And so it's something to keep everybody,
Yeah.
again, we're making this a destination.
Yeah.
I don't want to, we hear stories about people passing through. It's like, oh, we were on our way to PK, and so we just happened to stop. Or I'm on my way to Wichita Falls and
Yeah.
just happened to stop. We want people to come to Mineral Wells, and that's the destination. It's
Yeah.
not just a pass-through.
Yeah.
And so with us integrating in as many elements of the Crazy Water Plaza or Crazy Water Hotel as we can, that only helps it.
Yeah, yeah, and that's actually one of the things that makes Mineral Wells actually pretty unique, because you hear stories in other towns where everybody's fighting for their own little piece of the pie, but in Mineral Wells, everybody's fighting for each other. Like you're all, all of our businesses are looking for every opportunity to collaborate and partner in different ways, so that when one succeeds, we all succeed. And,
Right.
and it's a tangible thing that you spend very much time here in Mineral Wells, you're bound to feel it, whether it's just them saying, hey, I don't have this thing that you're looking for, but you should go check out so-and-so, or we don't do desserts here, but they do a killer dessert. Or they actually have each other's products in their shops. That's one of the things that really makes Mineral Wells unique, not only for the locals, but for those of you coming in and traveling. So I love that about Mineral Wells, and I love that you guys have just hopped right onto that.
That's something that we adopted years ago, and so it's funny that it's the exact same mindset. So it's already happened. So I learned that watching and researching other breweries and distilleries, to where it's like the old guys had that mentality, to where they're all in the same boat, and so there's no sense in.
And that does
There's no sense in fighting.
Yeah, and it does seem to be really common with the craft breweries.
With craft brew, we're
really
such a small market share at the moment that it's all of us against, quote, the big guys. And so, I mean, we've had those days to where another brewery will call me. It's like, hey, I need this gasket, or I need this part, or I need that. And absolutely we offer it to them, because we're all in the same boat. And so when you and I talked early on, that fits small town mentality as well, to where it's not us against these other small towns. It's like we're creating a destination in small town versus staying in the huge metroplex areas to where people just get lost and you don't make eye contact, nobody shakes hands, nobody does anything anymore. There's just no personality in it anymore. And so we love it that's the exact same mindset that we've walked into this with. And so it's a perfect fit.
So we're here during the day, obviously the sun is out, but things change a little bit when the sun goes down. So what's it like here in the evenings? What's different?
I don't know, I go home.
You go.
So we schedule music on Fridays and Saturday nights. We had that come in. And it's been a huge success so far. And so we love having the people come in. I've been a musician forever and a day. We installed a pretty elaborate, sophisticated PA system and music system that musicians don't have to bring any additional equipment in. They just come in, it's all plug and play. And so that's been a huge factor in talking to musicians and lining them up and getting them to come in. And so they just sit down and go. And so we're really making it a point to keep music in here. I'm following Nashville rules that, I don't know if that's a real thing, I'll just call it that, Tori, when you walk up and down Broadway. And the musicians back up to the window. And so you always see what's going on as you're walking by.
That is wonderful.
And so it's just something that I adopted early on. And so it's, like I said, it's worked out nicely so far. And that's our goal, is to have music at least twice a week.
Yeah, that's really cool. All right, we have to talk about the flying picture. So if you don't know the story behind the flying pig in Mineral Wells, it actually is kind of a big deal to those of us who are cheering on our community. For many years, people said that the Baker Hotel would be restored when pigs fly. And in 2019, the Baker team made the big announcement that they'd purchased the hotel and were actually starting renovation. They've been under renovation since. And so the Flying Pig is a little bit of an icon for those of us that have been just cheering on our community that actually pigs are flying in Mineral Wells and the impossible happens here. So I love that you guys adopted the Flying Pig and put it on the back of your shirt. That's so fun.
It's one of those things you ask what happens here after dark. We sat here with our t-shirt crew thinking about ideas, and that we had a few of these, and it's one of those things that just kind of gets the imagination going and gets ideas out there. And so we came up with that, and we're super pleased with the guys that did it. We've had nothing but good luck with them. We love working with them. And so it's been, I'm looking because Colin's wearing it. It's been huge. Everybody loves it. We've sold a bunch of them, and so we're not trying to capitalize on anything, one specific thing going on here. It's just kind of like, it goes back to community.
Yeah.
And so we believe in that. We signed it early on, and so now it's a part of us and we're a part of it.
Yeah, it's fun. All right, well, Brian, thanks so much for telling us all about the craft brewery business, and we're so excited to have you here. You're a great addition to the community.
Thank you.
Sure.
We appreciate it. We're definitely excited.
Yeah, we love it.